5.5.1 Parts of a flower. Each flower normally has 4 floral whorls, viz. Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. Figure 5.14. Androecium and gynoecium. Figure 5.14. 5.5.1.1 Calyx. The calyx is the outermost whorl of the flower and the members are called sepals. Generally, sepals are green, leaf-like and protect the flower in the bud stage. The calyx may be gomosepalous, sepals united, or polysepalous, sepals free. 5.5.1.2 Corolla. Corolla is composed of petals. Petals are usually brightly colored to attract insects for pollination. Like calyx, corolla may be also free. Gamopetalous or united polypetalous. The shape and color of corolla vary greatly in plants. Corolla may be tubular, bell-shaped, funnel-shaped or wheel-shaped. Estivation, the mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in floral bud with respect to the other members of the same whorl is known as estivation. The main types of estivation are valvate, twisted, imbricate and vexillary. Figure 5.15. When sepals or petals in a whorl just touch one another at the margin, without overlapping, as in calotropis, it is said to be valvate. If one margin of the appendage overlaps that of the next one and so on as in China rose, lady's finger and cotton, it is called twisted. If the margins of sepals or petals overlap one another but not in any particular direction as in cassia and gulmohar, the estivation is called imbricate. In pea and bean flowers, there are 5 petals. The largest, standard, overlaps the 2 lateral petals, wings, which in turn overlap the 2 smallest anterior petals, keel. This type of estivation is known as vexillary or papilionaceous. 5.5.1.3 Androecium. Androecium is composed of stamens. Each stamen, which represents the male reproductive organ, consists of a stalk or a filament and an anther. Each anther is usually bilobed and each lobe has 2 chambers, the pollen sacs. The pollen grains are produced in pollen sacs. A sterile stamen is called staminode. Stamens of flower may be united with other members such as petals or among themselves. When stamens are attached to the petals, they are epipetalous as in brinjal, or epiphyllous when attached to the perianth as in the flowers of lily. The stamens in a flower may either remain free polyandrous or may be united in varying degrees. The stamens may be united into one bunch or one bundle monodelphous as in China rose, or 2 bundles diadelphous as in pea, or into more than 2 bundles polyodelphous as in citrus. There may be a variation in the length of filaments within a flower, as in salvia and mustard. 5.5.1.4 Gynoecium. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of the flower and is made up of 1 or more carpels. A carpel consists of 3 parts, namely stigma, style and ovary. Ovary is the enlarged basal part, on which lies the elongated tube, the style. The style connects the ovary to the stigma. The stigma is usually at the tip of the style and is the receptive surface for pollen grains. Each ovary bears 1 or more ovules attached to a flattened, cushion-like placenta. When more than 1 carpel is present, they may be free as in lotus and rose and are called apocarpous. They are termed syncarpous when carpels are fused, as in mustard and tomato. After fertilization, the ovules develop into seeds and the ovary matures into a fruit. Placentation, the arrangement of ovules within the ovary, is known as placentation. The placentation are of different types, namely, marginal, axile, parietal, basal, central and free central. Figure 5.16. In marginal placentation, the placenta forms a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary and the ovules are borne on this ridge, forming 2 rows, as in pea. When the placenta is axial and the ovules are attached to it in a multilocular ovary, the placentane is said to be axile, as in China rose, tomato and lemon. In parietal placentation, the ovules develop on the inner wall of the ovary or on peripheral part. Ovary is 1-chambered but it becomes 2-chambered due to the formation of the false septum, e.g., mustard and ajman. When the ovules are borne on central axis and septa are absent, as in dianthus and primrose, the placentation is called free central. In basal placentation, the placenta develops at the base of ovary and a single ovule is attached to it, as in sunflower, marigold. 5.6 The fruit. The fruit is a characteristic feature of the flowering plants. It is a mature or ripened ovary, developed after fertilization. If a fruit is formed without fertilization of the ovary, it is called a parthenocarpic fruit. Generally, the fruit consists of a wall or pericarp and seeds. The pericarp may be dry or fleshy. When pericarp is thick and fleshy, it is differentiated into the outer epicarp, the middle mesocarp and the inner endocarp. In mango and coconut, the fruit is known as a drupe. Figure 5.17. They develop from monocarpellary superior ovaries and are one-seeded. In mango, the pericarp is well differentiated into an outer thin epicarp, a middle fleshy edible mesocarp and an inner stony hard endocarp. In coconut, which is also a drupe, the mesocarp is fibrous. 5.7 The seed. The ovules after fertilization develop into seeds. A seed is made up of a seed coat and an embryo. The embryo is made up of a radicle, an embryonal axis and one, as in wheat, maize or two cotyledons, as in gram and pea. 5.7.1 Structure of a dicotyledonous seed. The outermost covering of a seed is the seed coat. The seed coat has two layers, the outer tester and the inner tegmen. The hilum is a scar on the seed coat through which the developing seeds were attached to the fruit. Above the hilum is a small pore called the micropyle. Within the seed coat is the embryo, consisting of an embryonal axis and two cotyledons. The cotyledons are often fleshy and full of reserve food materials. At the two ends of the embryonal axis are present the radicle and the plumule. Figure 5.18. In some seeds such as castor, the endosperm formed as a result of double fertilization is a food-storing tissue. In plants such as bean, gram and pea, the endosperm is not present in mature seeds and such seeds are called non-endospermous. Seed coat. Hilum. 5.7.2 Structure of monocotyledonous seed. Generally, monocotyledonous seeds are endospermic, but some, as in orchids, are non-endospermic. In the seeds of cereals such as maize, the seed coat is membranous and generally fused with the fruit wall. The endosperm is bulky and stores food. The outer covering of endosperm separates the embryo by a proteinous layer called aleuron layer. The embryo is small and situated in a groove at one end of the endosperm. It consists of one large and shield-shaped cotyledon known as scutellum and a short axis with a plumule and a radicle. The plumule and radicle are enclosed in sheaths which are called coleoptile and coleorizer respectively. Figure 5.19. Semi-technical description of a typical flowering plant. Various morphological features are used to describe a flowering plant. The description has to be brief, in a simple and scientific language and presented in a proper sequence. The plant is described beginning with its habit, vegetative characters, roots, stem and leaves, and then floral characters, inflorescence and flower parts. After describing various parts of plant, a floral diagram and a floral formula are presented. The floral formula is represented by some symbols. In the floral formula, BRICH stands for bracteate, K stands for calyx, C for corolla, P for perianth, A for androecium and G for gynoecium, G for superior ovary and G for inferior ovary, for male, for female, for bisexual plants, for actinomorphic and for zygomorphic nature of flower. Fusion is indicated by enclosing the figure within bracket and adhesion by a line drawn above the symbols of the floral parts. A floral diagram provides information about the number of parts of a flower, their arrangement and the relation they have with one another. Figure 5.20. The position of the mother axis with respect to the flower is represented by a dot on the top of the floral diagram. Calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium are drawn in successive whorls, calyx being the outermost and the gynoecium being in the center. Floral formula also shows cohesion and adhesion within parts of whorls and in between whorls. The floral diagram and floral formula in figure 5.20 represents the mustard plant family, Brassicaceae. 5.9 Description of some important families. 5.9.1 Fabaceae. This family was earlier called Papillonoidea, a subfamily of family Leguminosae. It is distributed all over the world. Figure 5.21. Vegetative characters: trees, shrubs, herbs. Root with root nodules, stem, erect or climber, leaves, alternate, pinnately compound or simple. Leaf base, pulvinate. Stipulate. Venation reticulate. Floral characters. Inflorescence: racemose flower, bisexual, zygomorphic calyx, sepals 5, gomosepalous. Imbricate estivation corolla, petals 5, polypetalous, papilionaceous, consisting of a posterior standard, 2 lateral wings, 2 anterior ones forming a keel enclosing stamens and pistil. Vexillary estivation androecium. 10. Diadelphous, Anthedithecus gynoecium, ovary superior, monocarpellary, anelocular with many ovules, style single fruit, legume. Seed: 1 to many, non-endospermic floral formula, ch-5, C1 plus 2 plus 2, A, 9 plus 1 G1. Economic importance: many plants belonging to the family are sources of pulses: gram, arhar, same, moong, soybean. Edible oil: soybean, groundnut. Dye: indigofera. Fibers: sin hemp. Fodder: sesbania, trifolium. Ornamentals: lupin, sweet pea. Medicine: muliaceae. 5.9.2 Solanaceae. It is a large family, commonly called as the potato family. It is widely distributed in tropics, subtropics and even temperate zones. Figure 5.22. Vegetative characters: plants mostly, herbs, shrubs and small trees. Stem: herbaceous, rarely woody, aerial. Erect, cylindrical, branched, solid. 80 or hollow, hairy or glabrous, underground stem in potato. Solanum tuberosum. Leaves: alternate, simple, rarely pinnately compound, exstipulate. Venation reticulate. Floral characters. Inflorescence: solitary, axillary or cymose in Solanum flower, bisexual, actinomorphic calyx, sepals 5, united, persistent, valvate estivation corolla, petals 5, united. Valvate estivation androecium, stamens 5, epipetalous gynoecium, bicarpellary, syncarpous. Ovary superior, bilicular, placenta swollen with many ovules. Fruits: berry or capsule. Seeds: many, endospermous floral formula. Economic importance. Many plants belonging to this family are source of food: tomato, brinjal, potato, spice chili. Medicine: belladonna, ashwagandha. Fumigatory: tobacco. Ornamentals: petunia. (5.9.3) Liliaceae. Commonly called the lily family, is a characteristic representative of monocotyledonous plants. It is distributed worldwide. Figure 5.23. Vegetative characters: perennial herbs with underground bulbs, corms, rhizomes. Leaves mostly basal, alternate, linear, exstipulate with parallel venation. Floral characters: inflorescence: solitary, cymose. Often umbellate clusters. Flower: bisexual. Actinomorphic perianth. Tepal 6, 3 plus 3, often united into tube. Valvate estivation androecium, stamen 6, 3 plus 3. Gynoecium, tricarpellary, syncarpous, ovary superior, trilocular with many ovules. Axile placentation. Fruit, capsule, rarely berry. Seed, endospermous floral formula, P3 plus 3A 3 plus 3 G3. Economic importance: many plants belonging to this family are good ornamentals: tulip, gloriosa, source of medicine, aloe, vegetables: asparagus, and colchicine, Colchicum autumnale.